You're gonna want to hear this. The following is guaranteed to knock your ears right off. Not intended for the faint of heart.
And we're on. This is the Landron Podcast with your host Liam Saranich, with my co-host Matt Kiskin.
Hello.
And special guest tonight, Denise Mateo.
Hey.
Welcome. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great.
That's good. So let's get some context of how we met before. We met over a year ago now, probably. It was the first time I ever did public speaking with Professor Booker.
Yes.
It was the first time. And we met on one of the Zoom call meetings, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah, first time seeing Liam's got to be a little scary.
Indeed, though. He was nice.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm a nice guy. And I want to be, you know.
Yeah, not around me.
Me and this guy were like a married couple, but not married. You know, we live together and everything.
Until 40. Until 40, if both of us are unmarried, we got to marry. That's.
I didn't agree to that, but
Wait, he shook on it. I remember he spit in his hand. He shook on it right
That's
there.
a whole nice little bromance. Oh my God.
I don't remember that one. But hey, if that happened in my sleep, then sure.
Oh my God.
But yeah, so we did the public speaking thing. And I remember every time I've done public speaking, it's been about my learning disability. I'm pretty sure.
Well, you do good. You
Yeah.
speak from the heart. So
I know, yeah.
It resonates with other people.
Yeah, and we recently went to another public speaking thing at Wesleyan University. We did it, and we reconnected there again after a few months. We haven't seen each other, and then we talked and was like, "Hey," and you came up to me like, "When do I come on the show?"
Yeah. Hello. I don't know. It took you so long.
And I was like, "You know what? Let's do it." And then I was like, and then here we are a week later, and we're here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Finally.
See? So there's no more of this. When am I going to be on the show? You're here.
Yes.
And you're on.
Yes.
With the Lounge Around podcast.
No, it can't be the last time, though.
No, it won't be the last time.
Okay,
Your daughter's going to come on with her boyfriend as well.
Yes.
And talk about wrestling at some point too.
Ooh.
Yes.
Listen, I'm not trying to convince her to get back into it. Don't worry. I'm retired.
Okay.
So don't worry. I'm retired now.
Well, she wanted to get back into it.
I know.
She wants to do UFC.
Does she really?
Yes.
She's got to get that knee fixed though.
Yeah.
You want to pull the mic a little closer so you hear?
Yes.
You could pull it closer to you so you can sit
Yeah,
back.
this thing won't break unless
Unless you like crank it backwards, but
Well, she wants to get into UFC. She did judo for
yeah.
a lot of years, so she likes it.
Yeah, I know.
Wow.
And
That's a lot of judo, wrestling,
Yes.
martial arts.
She did.
yeah.
She did wrestling for like what, 6 years or something like that? Or longer.
Yeah, about six years. She
Yeah.
did judo for about 8-9 years.
Yeah.
And then she got into that. She also did Kyokushin karate.
Mm.
Yes.
Yeah, and her boyfriend and her wrestled together in high school, right?
Yes.
Yeah, because
Yep.
he was mentioning it to me last week. So, but yeah, and he was talking about opening up a gym at some point and everything. Like he wants to open up a wrestling gym or whatever, or an MMA gym. I don't know. Wait, maybe I shouldn't have said something.
No, it's okay. Hey, if that's what you want to do, no matter what you want to do in life, just go for it and do it. That's it. Makes you happy.
He asked me to come by and coach potentially in the future.
Okay.
So I said, sure. I'm a decent coach.
You gonna put him in a headlock?
Him? Yeah, I could do it. I could try.
Just kidding.
11 years. So
Yeah.
and I'm retired now.
11 years,
Okay.
and I can still beat
That's
this
right.
guy.
I forgot you did wrestling.
Yeah, you forgot.
I forgot.
Yeah, you forgot.
I did.
I did nutmegs this past summer. I did.
But you didn't remind me to come see you.
I forgot to remind you to come see me, but me and our friend Jack went, and I trained Jack for 2 years, and Jack went in there and kicked some butt the entire time. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, but
actually.
Jack mostly learned a lot from me, honestly.
He doesn't know-
After class, he came up to me. He's like,
so you
Liam's
gonna
not.
take all that credit.
Yeah,
Oh my
Liam. He's like, Liam's not teaching me anything. Matt, show me the moves. You know, give him the
The
1-2.
the best thing this guy could do is kick a soccer ball in our dorm and break a window. Like
I don't know. He's bigger than you.
yeah, okay.
That's right. That's right. Everyone can see it.
Yeah, everyone can see it. This guy's crazy. He wakes up wishing he was bigger than me.
You wake up with a Byler-X to your bed wishing you were me.
Oh, you guys look crazy.
But no, I mean, yeah, that was my last tournament, and I've retired after that officially. So I can't keep up. I got went to the chiropractor. I got nerve damage in my left hand now, and my shoulder locks up all the time.
Oh, so they kicked your butt, huh?
Not the nutmegs.
Yeah, that was me. Sorry, that was your last wrestling thing. I didn't know.
But yeah, Maddie, you shut the door. Do you mind?
Sure.
But no, I mean, with the wrestling stuff, I'm just, my body's wrecked. You know, like your spine makes an S shape.
Oh, yes.
You know how it makes an S shape and all that? Mine's apparently like perfectly straight. It doesn't have any curves to it. And they say that's a problem because when I get hit, it goes like down my spine, basically.
Ouch.
So when I get hit, it hurts all over. So instead of proportionate, I don't know how it works. I'm not a doctor, but that's basically what the chiropractor said.
It's definitely not a doctor.
Definitely not a doctor.
So you already know how to take him down, right?
Oh, yeah.
Go for his back.
Yeah, he's got scoliosis.
Let's one last thing I want to talk about before we get into what we're going to have you here for. Look at his hand.
Yep.
You want to tell her what you did?
Basically, we were near Domino's.
He's lying.
There is a girl getting robbed. Right? I said, stay away from her. You said, back off, dude. And I gave him the big 1-2, broke my hand, but you know.
In reality, what happened? He went like this on his desk, and he fractured his hand. He fractured and might have dislocated his pinky. So.
No. But he looks like he could take somebody on.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Maybe a Care Bear, but not.
A gummy bear at best.
Hey, don't let the size fool you.
Yeah, trust me. It does fool a lot.
No? Oh, my God.
He looks innocent, but he's really not.
That's right.
But,
That's you, actually.
I look innocent.
You look innocent, but you're really not.
It's a sweet face, man. And then, and in reality, it's maybe not a sweet face. It's it's the personality. Yeah, I'm 6 feet of personality. That's it.
Yeah, he tried to add 6 feet when he's really 5'11".
Hey, I'm 5'4.5".
I'm actually. This is crazy. I'm 6 foot and a quarter, and you're like, you're 5'11".
You're literally 5'11".
No, you wish you wish you were 5'10". You're 5'7" on a good day.
All right, well then this must be the best day of my life.
Oh my God. What are you, 5'8" today?
I'm 5. I'm gonna be 6 foot today, actually. Okay. I'm gonna be taller than him.
All right. Whatever.
It's the only way I could take him down.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Practice makes perfect. But yeah, he fractured his hand.
Perfect practice makes perfect.
Yep.
Perfect makes practice. Wait, what?
Perfect practice makes perfect.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect
Because you can practice something all day and it
Yeah.
not be the right form or the right way. And you just get used to that.
Yeah.
It's perfect practice that makes perfect.
But yeah, you're the only one that's actually seen me do public speaking, though.
Yes.
How would you say I am as a public speaker, if you don't mind me asking? Because you're the only one that's, and it'd be fully honest. I'd appreciate it.
Well, actually, the last time I was really proud of you.
Yeah.
Because after we had that talk,
Yeah.
it was great. I
Yeah.
think you did a great job. You spoke from the heart. You didn't even think about
at
it.
Wesleyan.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. You did an amazing job.
Yeah.
I was very proud of you. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I would love tips or anything like that, you think, like, especially.
Just get out your head.
Yeah, I know.
That's
I agree.
it. Get out your head and speak from the heart. As long
Yeah.
as you're speaking from the heart and the truth, that's it.
Yeah.
That's all that matters.
Because the first time I did the practice run, that was not good. No.
Well, that's because you was
Yeah.
in your head. You
I
were
know.
nervous. I could
I know.
tell a
I
little
know.
bit.
I get nervous sometimes.
But then,
After that, but the last time I did it, I was like not even nervous. I was just like,
the time that you spoke about your father, I think that was in Hartford.
It was
right?
in
The
Hartford.
University of Hartford,
yeah,
wasn't it?
Yeah, my dad cried in the back. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
you did amazing that day.
Yeah, and I had no prep time for that. I had no prep time.
You never write anything down.
No,
or
I
anything.
never.
He never remembers anything.
Yeah, I mean, we tried to do that once, but he's like, dang it, I misremembered the words.
Well, I think the way he does it is good.
Yeah, he helped me out with the second time I went to UConn, with Destiny,
Okay.
and that's the first time I ever wrote my speech down.
You're a good friend.
So
Of course, I'm always there for him.
I know, yeah. And he saw me write it so he's seen me write it down versus not write it down, and there's a very big confidence difference between me writing it and me just doing it. It's just like I feel like I'm better at just coming from the heart than just writing it on a piece of paper.
No, I agree with you.
So, yeah.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And now and then this is a perfect segue to get into what we're going to talk about, because you've asked me to come with you potentially to speak somewhere else.
Yes.
Do you want to talk about that?
Yes. So I'm on the Safe Futures Voices Committee.
Yeah.
And with a group of wonderful women there. But we did recently a speaking event in Mystic.
Yeah.
And we were talking about domestic violence. And I got to tell my story.
Yeah.
In front of quite a few people.
How many people?
Honestly, I don't know how many were there.
Probably like
but
100.
It was quite a bit.
Yeah.
And it was cool. So we're gonna do it again.
Yeah.
We were actually just given some space, or offered some space in Hartford, to do another event. And I think it'd be cool to have a guy there, because last time a lot of the speakers that also participated were all women.
Yeah.
And I think it's important for people to realize that doesn't happen to just women.
Yeah.
It can happen to guys as well. Which maybe you can tell a little bit about your story now.
Yeah. So to kind of like more clarify what it is, it's mostly an event where you talk about domestic violence.
Yes.
Correct. And correct me if I'm ever wrong about it. This is very new to me. But you guys talk about domestic violence. You tell your stories there.
Yes.
And it's mostly a thing of like kind of bringing awareness to it.
Well, yeah. And also we talk about coercive control.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't really know what that is.
Yeah.
There's some people that are in situations they don't even realize that they're in that situation until other people point it out to them.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of it was just showing the signs, the manipulation, you know, the control that they'll have over you.
Yeah.
Sometimes when you're in a domestic violence situation, the person may seem one type of way in front of other people.
Yeah.
They'll present themselves as so sweet, so nice,
Yeah.
but behind closed doors, they're not as sweet and as nice, you know? So, like, when you get out of the situation, all of a sudden people are like, but that person was so nice.
Yeah, I know.
Not realizing.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think Kiskin's seen it on my end.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of things.
But yeah, I mean, personally, I just got out of something like that with someone. I'm not gonna name any names, but
You can create a fake name like I did that day.
John Doe.
Okay. John Doe.
John.
How about, why they got to be a John? I thought it was a Jane Doe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, we're going. This is the end of the show. Nah, Jane Doe. Yeah. It was interesting. I mean, you can help me fill in some gaps of anything if I forget. But we were talking for a few, maybe a month in, and then we started like seeing each other for a bit. Weren't dating, but we were like, you know, other things and stuff. And then, like one time we were hanging out in the dorm, and I was down the hall, and I was just talking to her and anything like that. And then we just joking around and all that stuff. And then she got upset about something. I can't remember what it was, the context of what she got upset about. And then she bit me on my bicep and bit me like with her teeth, like as hard as she could. A little bit of blood, nothing like crazy, but then like I had a massive bruise on my bicep for like 2 weeks and stuff. And then occasionally she would like make kind of make comments,
make little jabs, probably.
Yeah.
Like that. I mean, she would know that like Liam obviously is like a little reserved on some things. He doesn't want to hear like certain things. And obviously like people know like, or she knows like what would push his buttons or whatever. And like she would like keep doing it, like those kind of small jabs, which do stack up obviously over time, which are.
And then what kind of started getting me really upset was that, and then we would be in my room or in the dorm and then with you guys even, and then she would like swing at me but like miss because she was so drunk and everything, because she was a very big drinker. You'd probably definitely agree.
No,
she brought her own like case of beers everywhere she went in her bag and stuff.
Oh.
And then I don't even know. And then her threatening Kane one night, that kind of threw me for a loop. I was just like, I don't like that when they're starting to threaten my friends. Stuff like, because as a guy in my mind says like, I'll take what I gotta take and stuff because it's just my thing. But when it starts kind of targeting towards other people, I was kind of over it. And then I start towards the end of the semester, because it was for the whole semester at that point. Towards the end of the semester, I was kind of really over it and just kind of wanted things. And so I stopped talking to her, and then eventually I kind of got out of it. And then over the break, did reflecting. I was away from everyone. Realized that this person was a toxic person. It caused me to have issues I didn't think I'd have again. I started getting bad. Like during that semester, I started having issues with drinking and smoking. I was smoking cigarettes and all that stuff all the time. Yeah, she didn't.
What?
He's not.
You?
Yeah, he knows. I quit.
He's not the sweet little angel people think he is.
Oh.
Yeah, I quit. I quit over the break though. He knows I quit. I haven't smoked at all. So I quit smoke. But I was just super stressed because this person
So she caused you some anxiety.
Oh yeah, like because she would call me and like text me and then all this stuff and say like the craziest stuff to me. And like would come up to me and be like, yeah, I'm gonna go like have sex with this guy, and like would tell me these things and only tell me this stuff just to mess with me, and then I would have to be like okay with it because we're not dating and stuff. And her, I don't even know. It was a lot of manipulation stuff because it'd be the whole sweet talk of like, oh, like because then she would come in my room, she'd be like, you know, if we date one day, like, you know, I care about you a lot. Like, you can always confide in me. And then a minute later, she'd go off on this big tangent of like how I'm like an asshole or whatever. And I don't know.
Wow.
But yeah.
Wow. So, well, that's the thing. Domestic violence is not only just physical.
Yeah.
It could be verbal.
Yeah.
It can be controlling your money. There's so many different aspects to domestic violence. It's not just physical.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. I think a lot of it was a lot of mental and then definitely physical in between. But it's not the first time I was in a relationship like that. My second girlfriend at college, I got my tattoo on my shoulder to my chest, and she was upset. I was getting the tattoo by the person, and she was texting me during the tattoo, and she was like accusing me of having sex with the tattoo artist as I'm getting the tattoo. And I'm like, listen, I was like, hey, babe, there is no way I'm letting someone jab me with a needle and I'm having sex with them at the same time. That makes no sense. Because that's what she would text me. She'd make me snap her pictures constantly to make sure that nothing was happening. Like it was just a tattoo. And I got back to the dorm and we were sitting in my dorm and we started talking. I was like, oh, I'm so happy with the tattoo. And then she blew up and she was like, you can never go to a girl tattoo artist again.
That's another type of control.
Yeah.
Well, just like controlling who you hang out with, controlling your phone, your social media.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to speak to other people of the opposite sex.
Yeah. And that's what her whole thing was. Like the opposite sex was like a no-go. And then we started talking, and she has a tattoo on her forearm, and I was like, where'd you get that tattoo at? And she was like, oh, this. But this guy's like, you're not allowed to get a tattoo from a guy. Just not just kind of throwing back at her, like, you know how ridiculous you sound when you say that to me? And like, you see how, and then she's like, what? You can't. And I was like, but do you see what you're doing? Like, and I started laughing, and that's what she got mad, and then she punched me. She punched you? Yeah, because I laughed because I was like, you see how ridiculous this is? Like you saying I can't, and then I say, and I was like, you know, trying to make lighthearted of the situation. She punched me because she was upset because I laughed because I was trying to like ease the tension, and I told her to get out, and then and we dated for another like 3 months after that, and then eventually we broke up because I found out that she was like sleeping with like a bunch of guys because she downloaded a dating app. And then was doing that, and then saying that I was using drugs, and saying that so that she can use drugs, because then she started using drugs, and then was saying that I was using, and whatever. And then eventually I found that out from people like a year later that worked with her. And they were like, yeah, I heard this stuff. Talking to you made me realize that that's not what the case. And I was like, yeah, I don't use, so
Well, I definitely, two things. I'm very proud of you for even speaking about it and speaking up about it, because a lot of guys, they're afraid to speak up about it.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's because it makes them feel less manly or because they're embarrassed or of anybody else knowing, or probably thinking that other people won't believe them.
Yeah.
So I have to say that I'm really proud of you for speaking about it, because not too many guys do that.
Yeah.
And I think it's important for guys to realize that that's not okay to happen to them either.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that it does happen to, it can happen to anybody.
Yeah. I just think a lot of my thought process behind it was like, and I know it's not a good thought process, like that I'm a guy and like, this is what happens to guys, and guys are supposed to be like the stoic and like take what they can get, and he knows that about me.
Actually, right here written down in my violence and relationships class, it says 3 core components of toxic masculinity. 1, stoic/toughness. Right, and then another one would be anti-feminine. So like you don't want help from women. Like guys got it. This is like man's job, right? Like. And probably like a need for power, like
well, I'm the only thing on there is the stoic thing.
Yeah,
I don't. The other stuff doesn't apply to me that much. I'm not power hungry.
No, but another thing that shows in your relationship is that how they can pretend to be so nice, but again, to you not so nice.
Well, it's because the last person, she was nice to you guys, and all that stuff. I think. I mean.
For the most part.
One of our friends did not like her at all. I won't say his name, but because he doesn't, I don't know if he wants to be a part of this.
Yeah.
But he wasn't a big fan of her at all, and he literally said as well recently, like she's not allowed back in the dorm or anything like that, even when I'm here. When he's there, he means. I was like, that's fair. So, but yeah, I've been avoiding her.
Yeah.
We've gotten a few discussions about it, and I'm like, I'm not going anywhere I know she'll be. Like I don't want to see her at all.
That's crazy how much control they can have. So now you're gonna avoid going to places just so that you don't run into that person.
Well, it's a lot of it is me nervous because of how they're gonna react. To be honest, we talked about this a bunch. Is like I'm nervous for how they're gonna react to seeing me. Not like they're going to be like in a rude way, but like almost like the manipulation will start again. And I'm just not.
Like it's correlative with like the problems you were going through during that side. So it's like you don't even want to associate with the person or go through any of that again.
Yeah.
I don't want to say that people can't change. Because people probably can change with lots of counseling and therapy or something like that. But for the most part, a lot of people who do that stuff or however you want to call it, or abusers, they'll say sorry.
Yeah.
And they'll make it seem like, oh, I'll never do it again, or I'm the sweetest thing, and then they go right back to it.
I mean, that's exactly what it was a lot of time. It was like her apologizing, whatever, and then or coming to my room and being like, and like shutting the door and then being like, hey, like, can we talk? And then forcing almost me to like talk about what I was upset about, which is fine. And I did. And she was like, that doesn't matter. Like, you won't have to, it's not a big deal. Like, you shouldn't be worried about that. And I'm like, okay, I guess I shouldn't worry about it, and, I don't know. It was just a lot of like trying to like tell me how to think a lot. And I don't know. I'm not that guy.
Well, good. Yeah. Nobody should be that person, period.
So
kind of relates to what we went about in our class, at least. There's like a cycle of violence, right?
I'm glad you pay attention in class.
Yeah, I mean, this is... right? I mean, passed it with flying colors, so hopefully I learned something. Right, where... your abuser basically they do something either nasty to you, either hit you or do something like steal your stuff, some of the sort, and they come back and afterwards they say, sorry, I won't do it again, so that, you trust them again. And basically it goes back to the start of the relationship where it's the honeymoon phase, where you don't see any problems and you look past them because, they're saying they're going to change. And then it keeps going down where you go the honeymoon phase where you think there's no problems, which is like 3 months. Then it goes to a phase where it's like you're seeing some problems, but maybe they're not as big of problems as you think for about 3 more months. And then it goes to, this person is not like what I thought to be. Maybe they abuse you again. Maybe they do whatever manipulative tactics again. And then it starts over again where they forgive, they say, sorry, I won't do it again. And it starts all over, right? And people get trapped in this kind of relationship. It takes like an average of like 7 or 8 times in order to leave a relationship. It's actually, it's ridiculous. Like,
yeah. And I think there's a few times during that semester I was like, I just want to like stop talking to this person. But it was hard because they kept getting invited over to the dorm, kept hanging out. So every time I would like kind of like pull back, it felt like they immediately were back on top of me and being like, hey, like, what's going on? Like, can we hang out? Like, what are we gonna do? Like, can we go? I'm like, I guess. And then it'd just be like, okay, we're gonna hang out this day. Cool. And I'm like, okay. And it was just kind of this thing where it's like, I couldn't get away without, but I think the break really helped with that because there was
no contact.
There was yeah. So, yeah.
Well, because they're so good at manipulating, right? Yeah. So by the time you realize what's going on and you see all the red flags, it's too late. You kind of have feelings for them. And then, again, they go back to manipulating. You're thinking they're so sweet and so kind.
Well, yeah, because this person would say to me all the time in my dorm, like, oh, I get what I want anytime I want, and like, and this is that, and would say that stuff to me, and I'd be like, sure, and whatever you say. Like, I don't know what I'm supposed to say to that. And then, but she was so egotistical. Like every topic we talked about, it would somehow involve her, and then she'd be like, yeah, like my yacht, my this, my that. Like it would talk about like, I mean,
I was there, but
well, most of them usually care about themselves.
Oh yeah, and there was a lot of time it was like, it wasn't like rude, but it would just always revolve around being back to like something about her. Like every topic we talked about, it would always be like, the center of the topic would be around her. And then I would always just walk away in my room sometimes because I just couldn't sit there and listen to it. And then she would come in my room and then talk to me and be like, what's wrong? And I'd be like, I just want to be alone.
Well, I'm glad you got out of that.
So, yeah. No, I mean, I'm happy. Yeah.
I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, I don't care about talking about it. It's uncomfortable for sure. I'm not going to lie. Yeah. I'm not going to like lie. But like, you know.
But I think it's important for people to hear that. And I think it's important for men, other guys to hear that also. Because again, a lot of them don't want to come out and speak up about it.
Yeah.
And the more you speak about it, the more with my story personally, the more you speak about it, you heal from it, and you also it's easier to talk about the more you speak about it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's what is it? I think 1 in 7 men are domestically abused. Versus 1 in 4 women, which is actually, I thought that would be a larger gap, but and also that wouldn't include like people that aren't reporting as men, right?
Yes.
As much as women reporting, but obviously it goes both ways. Also, men are less likely to seek help, right? And when they do seek help, they're often ridiculed, like, you should have taken that, like they don't really hit that hard, like what, like.
No, it's true because I met a friend, big guy, probably bigger than you, Liam.
That's
big guy.
Bigger than him?
Way bigger than him. No, but he was a big guy, and he actually was in a situation where he was married to this woman. They had kids, and she was a tiny little person compared to him, and she would physically assault him. So, of course, for him not to do anything, he wouldn't hurt her, he wouldn't hit her, probably just hold her, but he would call the cops, and he called the cops multiple times on her, and they would laugh at him. They were like, are you, like, if you saw him and then saw her, it's like, so they laughed at him, and it wasn't until chief of police who actually had gone through similar experience
Mm-hmm.
actually believed them, and finally, after multiple times calling the police on her, they pressed charges.
Good. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, men have been falsely arrested as the perpetrator, more often than women when like called to like a domestic violence scene,
Yeah.
right? Because obviously the bigger man, so they usually, at least before, they would get arrested more often. But
Yeah.
I think now it's become
And
more.
that was like a big fear of mine too, about talking about it. And I don't think we've ever like really talked about it, me and you, until like a week ago when I was just like, after that night we went to the bar. Like I didn't drink. I just played pool for 2 hours.
Hey, no judgment, no judgment.
we were winning a lot.
I won every game. But we went back to the dorm and I was like at my wit's end kind of thing, and I just like kind of like not exploded on you, but just kind of exploded in general. And I think I just kind of like aired it all out in one thing of like how I felt about the whole thing. And I think at that point you understood really how I felt about it. But like, I don't know if you could. Yeah.
Yeah. Basically, Liam, he's telling me about all these things that at least I didn't know that happened behind closed doors, or how much at least it affected him. Which obviously, me being a severe empath, I was very moved by it.
Yeah.
But
Well, most people don't. Well, that's the thing. When they do it, because they're such a different person in public and to others, and usually it only happens behind closed doors. Most people don't know. Like it happened to me. So when I left my situation, a lot of people asked me, "Well, but he was such a nice guy. But he was so sweet." It was because they didn't know what happened behind closed doors. That's when they showed their true selves, their true colors. So,
But yeah, like, and I apologize if I ever was like, I seemed angry that day about.
you were
but
never angry at me. I trust me. I know. Like,
I was just like, I think I was so frustrated with the whole situation because that night we were supposed to see that person at the bar again, and I didn't want to see him. But it was a whole thing of something happened where it was like plans somehow correlated, and they didn't show up. And then I was like, we're leaving. And then when they showed up, we're actually leaving. They showed up, and I was like, I don't even want to be here anymore anyways, so good. And we left, and I think I just was so angry that I was just like, I just exploded in the door. And I was like, I was just like, yep. And I explained it.
the only thing I'm going to say is if somebody does speak up to you about it or tell you about their experience, believe them. And two, just be a good friend. Or if you see something, and the person may not even realize they're in that type of situation. So if you see things that are not right, it's as a good friend, you want to tell, like, have Liam's back. Why you didn't have Liam's? No. Tell Liam, like, hey, that's not right. The way she talks to you is not right. The way the person is talking to you is not right. The way they're treating you is not right. And always just listen and be there for that person. It's important because sometimes they need support, extra support. So.
And I just think a lot of time too, for like to give Kiskin the benefit of the doubt, I don't talk about my emotions like ever. So when I do have those moments, it's like he knows, I think, at that point where it's like I'm actually being genuine, because I never do. I try to keep it like capped up as much as I possibly can.
He's the genuine stoic.
So yeah,
I basically I stopped listening. Obviously, you always, from a third party perspective, you can also get like a lot of information that even maybe the person like being abused doesn't know or doesn't realize, which could be one of the harder parts, is when like you're trying to explain to them maybe like something bad's happening, and maybe they're like, oh, they're like keep defending this person, they're like completely encapsulated by like their whole being, like they've been manipulated so much. So maybe you just being that third party and being able to at least explain from your perspective what it looks like, I think is a very important thing.
And just don't give up on that person either. Because
Yeah.
even though, remember, they're, like you said, it takes 7 times sometimes for them to get out of the situation. They don't realize they're in a situation. You want to be there for that person, because then when they finally decide to, it can get very lonely.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah, and one of the main manipulative tactics that actually I taught Liam.
I haven't used it.
Yeah, he's only used it against me. It's deny, minimize, and I think it's like deflect.
Yeah, I remember.
Yes.
And then that day I was
Yeah.
like, I didn't do that, but if I did do that, it was your fault.
It goes like, I didn't do that, and if I did do that, it wasn't as bad as you were saying it was, and I did that because of you. You made me do that.
Yeah.
Shifting the blame.
Oh yeah.
And it really.
And I think after you told me that, and that was last semester when I was seeing that person, I started noticing it more with that person, and I was like, damn, this guy, I hate.
Oh, so he was warning you.
Oh no, he wasn't warning me, but he was just talking to me about it. He was taking a class about this stuff. This was last semester, so he was telling me about it. He was just telling me about his class.
Well, that makes me happy because they need to talk about that stuff more.
Yeah.
It's a lot more, so that makes me happy, and I'm glad you paid attention in class.
I need to.
This guy, he's a very genuine guy. Me and him, we get into arguments, but I think we know that
At the end of the day,
I think I care about you. I think.
Yeah, I care about you a little bit.
Yeah, good, because I don't really that much.
Should I leave the room right now?
No, but because I feel like even to get off topic a little bit. Today we got a little heated debate in the dining hall.
I know, but we, those kind of things we leave at the table.
I know, and I hate those sometimes because I always feel like you're gonna get mad at me afterwards.
I'm never mad at you.
But you know why I get upset is because I'm worried that you will be upset with me. That's
Really?
literally it. Yeah, because I get nervous. That's the only reason I get upset. Not because of things you say, but because what you're gonna think of me afterwards. Because I get so fixated on that portion of people. So
He cares about you.
He cares about my opinion. Thank you, Leah. That's the only person, but.
But I'm sorry, I didn't get sidetracked.
Yeah.
But I wanted to say that on air because I mean it at that point.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I know you.
And when I'm out of this room, it's going back to
back to pushing me down.
Yeah. So.
Oh.
I'm sorry.
No,
But anyways, do you mind talking about your story a bit? Because you sent you sent your story to us and we read it. I'll say this: Kiskin read all of it. I did read a little bit of it. I am a very busy guy.
he's not a good friend.
Yeah.
I am a good friend. I am a good friend.
Just kidding.
Well, 5 pages is really hard for Liam.
You know how busy I am.
All right.
You know I'm not.
Yeah.
He knows I'm barely in the dorm. When
Yeah.
I'm in the dorm, I just try to stay down. And then when I'm in the dorm, they're like, "When's the next thing? Are we gonna have people over? Are we gonna have a game night?" I'm like, "Guys, can I just have a day to myself?"
Yeah, nobody's talking to him in the dorm. He's making this stuff up.
This is not a lie. But yeah.
What do you want me to start?
So yeah, well, off the bat, I'll just kind of. You were born in Puerto Rico.
Yes.
And you came to the United States.
Yes.
I
had an abusive childhood.
Yes. Yeah.
So I had an abusive childhood. I grew up in a strict home.
Yeah.
So when the first incident happened to me, I grew up thinking that a woman is supposed to be submissive and things like that. So what I saw was kind of when it started happening to me, I thought it was okay. But the first incident was when I met somebody. I ended up homeless at the age of 18.
Yeah.
And I was sleeping in a park in Hartford. It was wintertime, and there was this guy that my friends wanted me to go out with. And at first, I didn't like him. Just wasn't my type, you know. But he would stay in the park with me in the wintertime and all night so I could feel safe.
Yeah.
So, I started to like him. I thought, he really is a nice, genuine guy. He was really sweet.
Yeah.
And then he got me to move in with him. And it wasn't until one day I was working 2 jobs. And it wasn't until one day I came home from work and I found he was doing drugs with his friends. And I flipped, of course.
Yeah.
Because, I was like, I'm getting out of here. I don't want nothing to do with this.
Yeah.
So when I said that, I went to go pack my room. I remember him telling his friend, he looked at his friend and he told his friend, vete, yo me encargo de ella. In other words, leave, I'll take care of her. And that was the first time he He beat me, and he had he raped me that night, and he did a lot of stuff that was not cool. The very next day, he apologized. I'm so sorry. I love you. It was. He blamed the drugs, of course, and said he'll never do it again. Swear to God. So I stood, and then, but it became a regular thing after that. If he got upset about something, or if I did something that he thought I did something wrong, he would do the same thing over and over again. It was actually his mom who helped me get out of the situation. The first time I tried to get out of the situation, he got home before my friend was supposed to pick me up. Rest in peace. I'm not going to mention her name, but she was supposed to come pick me up, and we were downstairs waiting for her to come get me. She didn't show up. Then he got home before she did. That was another beating. It was one of the worst ones. Well, he gave me so many bad ones. It's hard to say which one was the worst ones, right? So then we tried again. His mom was the one that was helping me, actually. Because his dad had done that to her. And she used to tell me, you got to leave my son because he's going to kill you. He's not good for you. So then the second time, we arranged it again. We waited for time to pass. I was downstairs waiting, praying to God that my friend showed up this time before he did. And she did. And I was able to get out of that situation. But then a couple years after, of course, I met my ex-husband. And nice guy, you know. Of course, they're always nice in the beginning. Always nice in the beginning. Always nice in the beginning. It's all up front. No? So, but with him, it was more like he was very verbally abusive, at first, and was not very nice. And I thought it was normal because he wasn't hitting me or anything like that, beating me. So I thought it was like, okay, it's not abusive because he's not hitting me. But the way he talked to me, he would downgrade me. Pretty much, he controlled my money. I got a weekly allowance where I was only, if I had to use money for something, I had to ask permission. So it was controlling of the money. He would embarrass me in public in front of others, yell at me in front of other people. I remember one time we were at Walmart, as a matter of fact, and he had yelled at me for no reason. I think I had bumped into him by accident or something. And we were in line, but he kept yelling at me. That day was tough. And I was trying to hold it because I was embarrassed. It was a long line of people. It was a lot of people. I was embarrassed. And as we were walking out, I felt my face red, the eyes watering. And he just turned around and said, "What the F you crying for?" You know? So, but with him, again, I didn't think it was abusive because I seen the way I grew up. I seen the way the first boyfriend I had treated me. So I was like, oh, he's not hitting me, so it's okay. I also stood with him for a lot of years because of my kids. I didn't want to be a statistic. I didn't want to my kids to grow up without their dad. So but then he became physical, and he would take my son the most, and he would do stuff to my son. He would not very nice. So it got to the point where my kids were like, "Mom, we want you to leave Dad." So when that happened, I was like, I felt bad too. I felt guilty for a really long time because I felt like, damn, I made my kids go through this for so many years, you know? And witness all of this. We used to come home and it was like walking on eggshells. We would sit in the car. My kids did wrestling, right?
Yeah, I know.
So we would go from school to practices. We'd get home late at night. We wouldn't even want to go inside the house because we didn't know how we were going to find him that day. And it was like walking on eggshells every time. So, but when I left him, it was just, I don't know.
Yeah. I want to emphasize the walking on the eggshells part where, at least in my class, we had watched a video where it did, like, literally any sort of like action you do, like you're literally hoping like this guy like doesn't react. You're hoping that if you don't make this sandwich wrong or something, he's just gonna blow up.
It could have been the smallest things. If I put the mail in the wrong place, on top of the wrong table, any little thing would have triggered him. Especially, he was in a bad mood. But the thing was that when we were in public, he was so nice to everybody else. I remember one time being at a wrestling tournament, and I was working the concession stands, and that day he had just finished yelling at us so bad in the car and just going off on us. And we looked up at the bleachers. My daughter came behind the table, and he's over there friendly, kikiing with some stranger, some person you don't even know, being so nice to that person. And my daughter said, wow, she was like, he can treat us so bad, but look how he treats these people. It's like he treated the people out, strangers and people that he didn't even know, better than he treated us, and we were his family, his wife and kids, you know. Again, and when I left him, a lot of people were like, oh, but he's so nice. He was such a nice guy, such a great guy, and this and that. But they weren't there to witness everything that we had to go through behind the closed doors. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which really, one of the biggest things when you're in these kind of situations is like it feels like there's no escape. Like if I go this place, you know, you have to make like a pro and con list. When at least we were talking about like safety plans, right? A lot of people don't know about like a lot of help-seeking behavior, like police and social services agencies, the court system, counseling services. You know, like what places can actually help you, and they feel very trapped.
Well, there are a lot of organizations now that do help, like Safe Futures. They're a great organization.
Which is the one you speak at.
Right. They're an amazing organization. They help out so many people, not just women, but men as well, that go through situations, whether it's, you know, getting them the resources for legal stuff, food, housing, safety, creating the safety plans and stuff like that. They're an amazing organization. But there are a lot of organizations throughout Connecticut that do help people. However, it is scary for somebody going through the situation, especially depending like if that person is the bread maker. Although in my situation, I made the more money, but he just controlled it all, right? But it was scary in the sense where, okay, now how I'm going to provide for my kids, because my kids were my everything. They're still my everything. So it's like, how I'm going to provide for my kids. You're thinking about where you're going to go, what you're going to do next. I've had to work. I was working 3 jobs at one point to make sure that, you know, my kids had everything that they needed. It was also threatening after the fact. I moved every year almost after, every year after the divorce and after I left him, because I didn't want him to find us at first. Yeah. You know? So it's not easy. And then also what doesn't make it easy is the fact that sometimes the police don't even help you, or they don't, or not just the police, just the court systems. Yeah. Everything's so messed up that they don't have help for people who go through this stuff. Yeah. So I know one person in particular that she went through stuff and they didn't believe her. They gave her such a hard time, and even now through the court process, giving her a hard time, you know. Luckily, she was able to fight through it because she's such a strong person, but she helps advocate for other people going through the situation as well. So. Yeah.
What are you saying?
I just want, like, even just staying or leaving, like, both options are, like, terrible, right? Especially when you're in situations where they're controlling like either your financial situation or your social, right? You know, you can't call, like, don't hang out with your friends unless I say so. You know, you're not allowed to call your family members till like it's the weekend, the holiday. Like, there's a lot of aspects that really control you, right? And so, say like you want to leave, or like, so here's like a pro con thing that we did for like certain areas, right? So like, for the kids, right? If you stay, you might get hurt. Kids might get traumatized. You know, they might get psychological learning. Oh, they might like learn abusive patterns, right? Because when somebody's like abused, they're more likely to abuse like next. And if you leave, right, you could end up homeless. You could end up stalked. Like a lot of women end up stalked after. A lot of women and men end up stalked after leaving situations. You know, financially, if you stay, you know, you're stable, you have a house. But if you leave, you know, depending on who controls the finances there, you know, if the man at least is the main breadwinner, right? Like, if you're trying to leave with your kids, right, you got to set aside like a bag of money, like to.
Well, not necessarily anymore, because like I said, there are a lot of organizations that do help out. Yeah. It's just wanting to seek that help, right? And sometimes the person's scared because they don't know what's next or what can happen, but there is help out there. It's just hard to say, but there is a lot of help out there for people. Yeah. There was one thing else I wanted to say, and I forgot. Yeah.
Well, also, for financially or psychologically, right? If you stay, your self-esteem, it's going to drop. You're going to get anxious, depressed. Same thing if you leave.
Do you have a thought?
Yes. Another thing is that when you're in that situation, right, sometimes because it does take so long to get out, or sometimes depending, the person, for example, with me, I wasn't, if I wanted to go do a family event or something like that of one of my family that they were having a birthday party or something like that, it would be like, okay, you can go or you're going to go, but I'm not going, right? But then the minute it's time for me to go, it would make up a big fight right as I was leaving to make me not want to go, right, to that event. So I'd end up staying at home. So you end up shutting out a lot of people when you're in that situation because you don't want to fight or you don't want the wrath that's going to come with it. So you tend to shut out a lot of people, and by you doing that, you push people away. So this is why I say, no matter what, always be there for that person, because it's not their fault. They don't intentionally mean to push people away or shut people out, but it just happens. And then when the time comes that they want to leave, they feel alone because nobody's there for them because they done pushed everybody away, right?
Yeah.
So it's important. That's why I said it's important to be there for people going through it and not give up on them.
Yeah, they basically they make it seem like they're like the only source of comfort that you should have, right? You push away all of your other sources of comfort, your friends, your family, any sort of maybe like coworkers, anything like that. Like you can't. Feels like there's no escape. It feels like you're only attached to this one person.
Well, not only that, also depending on how you grew up in your family. It's like, for example, I had some family members tell me, well, why you don't just go to counseling? Why you don't try to fix it? Almost kind of making it seem like if it was kind of my fault. You know what I mean?
Made it seem like that you could both fix the problem.
Right,
when
because
when it's him that has the problem.
Right, because he was also so nice to people, other people, and he put up such a good front to other people, so they thought he was so nice. I was the crazy one for wanting to leave, right?
Yeah, almost like blaming you for him hitting you. Like it was just kind of like, I don't know. Personally, like I'm a little like speechless. I don't know. I don't have anything to say a lot. So sorry if I haven't said much. But like it's just I find it ridiculous that men in particular can do that to people, or women in particular too, to other people. I just don't get it. I just don't get it personally. Like how I was raised was to always respect women constantly and give them everything you can give, kind of thing, and never like treat them bad, never badmouth them, never hit them. And I just don't get how guys, like, you must have been raised terribly if you think that's okay to do that to someone.
Some people are products of their environment, and like he said, it's they tend to see something and and end up being that way, right? But you have two choices in life. You can either be what you saw, or you can make a change and break that, what I like to call the generational curse.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of kids, they do reproduce what they see at home, right? You see when like kids are acting more violent, right, during school hours, because like they go back home and they see, daddy hitting mommy or something like that, right? They're trying to replicate it. Yeah,
I don't know. It's just like you're married to this person and this is someone you're going to be with the rest of your life. Do you really want to look at someone that's black and blue, or do you want to look at someone that's like in all their glory? You know, it's just like,
but those people like that, I strongly feel that they also have mental issues. They feel
they
powerful. They like the
Mm-hmm.
control. They like the power that comes with it, and being able to control somebody.
Yeah.
So it's
they
could care less how they make you feel.
Oh yeah, they love the fact that it's like they have some sort of power over this one person to be like standing over them, like, yeah, I could do anything to this person, and even though they're like a weak man on the inside, basically. And the minute that's done to them, they're just like a scared little kid. It's just like, I don't know. I don't mean to like be like that, but it just it makes me upset.
Yeah, I get angry too. Don't worry.
Don't get mad. I'm scared.
Him? It's terrifying. I gotta show you the chicken dance he did. You'll look more terrified then.
No.
But yeah, I don't know. It's just because I get very upset about that stuff personally, because just like coming from like family members in the past that have done that stuff, and just seeing how much it wrecks families and stuff. I just don't get it. I'm a big person that believes in like happy wife, happy life, and having kids and stuff like that, and keeping a family together. So why would I want to ruin that by doing that to my partner? But again,
not everybody's like that.
I know.
Not everybody thinks like that. You know, it's a crazy world out there. So not everybody thinks like that. And again, like, and even for the people going through it, sometimes they allow it because of how they were raised, or because that's what they saw becomes normal, or because they're afraid and they don't have anybody.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And even some of our friends, like, that do the dumb stuff they do with random guys or girls, I'm just like sitting there like, come on. Like, and you complain about your partner all day, saying he's this awful person or she's an awful person, and you're staying with them. Oh, but I love them. It's like, I get it, but like, come.
Yeah,
like,
well, it's not as easy.
You gotta love yourself first.
I know,
I think
that's what
once you love yourself,
I know,
you know.
I agree. It's just like, I don't know. It's just like these people are so young too.
Well, that's why it's important to bring awareness, even to people in college, to people in schools. Listen, it starts in middle school or in high school when they start taking your phone. They want control over your social media. They want your passcodes. If you're on your phone, they want to see what you're doing, who you're talking to. They want to control the friends that you have, and things like that. So it actually it can start at a young age.
I know,
which is why it's so important to talk about it and bring awareness to.
Yeah. I mean, I'm definitely one to talk to be like, get out of that. And but it's like, I was one of the person who was like, get out of that, Liam. You know what I mean?
But just know that it's easier said than done.
I know.
Sometimes,
yeah, no, and
right?
that's what I'm saying. Like, it's easier to say because I got out, kind of thing like that. And I know it's easier said than done. It's just, I just feel bad. You know what I mean for them, because it's just like, it's just because I'm thinking about some of the people we know that are doing stuff to themselves in relationships. I'm just like, it just makes me like, because I handled a domestic violence thing one time as an RA, and I see that girl with that guy still after I watched him wail on her in the hallway and stuff, and she's still dating him to this day. And I see them walk around campus and all that stuff, and I had to write the report, and I'm sitting there like, kidding me? Like, I just, I don't know. And it just, I feel bad because I just like, I know that person totally didn't want that to happen. And the person they're dating, the guy, he's not a nice person. Not a nice person.
We're gonna say it.
Yeah, I was gonna say every other kind of bad word, but I'll just say not a nice person. But yeah, it just, and it's again so much easier said than done. And I know what I'm saying is like, oh, just wave a wand and everyone's in healthy, strong relationships. It's not like that. I know the realistic point of it. I'm just saying, I feel bad.
Yeah. Especially nowadays with cell phones, right? Like Snap Map, right? People can like find your location so much easier.
Yeah.
Right?
Because
like,
people would think like nowadays it's easier to get out of stuff like that. I feel like it's harder because of what you just said, with all that.
Well, that's why I just want to say when you see that person, just always be there for that person. You need to be because
Yeah, I know. Yeah. It just sucks. Yeah.
Well, he looked like he has something to say, so I'm waiting for it.
Yeah, I'm looking at my notes. With the
Come on, Kiss Kid.
I'm getting the whole like you guys are getting the whole program here. Maybe might as well pay $1,000 for the class.
Hey. What's step 20? What's step 20 in the 100-step plan?
Right. Yeah, like with you want to like change your cell phone, right? If they can't track you, if you have a routine, right? They probably know your routine if you're like with them all the time. You got to change your where you go for your dryers, where you go, your favorite place to eat. You have to change so much. You have to you change your locks, your security, determine where you want to keep your kids safe, where to go if like an incident occurs. And, you want to call the Domestic Violence Service Center, obviously, to help with that. But, it's definitely, it's super hard.
Well, I have to change where I lived every year.
Yeah.
So it also becomes costly. Also, not only that, you think about it. We had pets. We had to give up one of our dogs. And
You gave up one of your dogs?
we had to.
Which one?
We got him back, Taz.
Oh, you got Taz back.
We got him back. But no,
The
but
rat.
but yes, that's what I.
I'll say it.
Oh my God, he said it, Destiny, not me. No, but
I'll just say it.
no, but seriously, like pets become like your family as well, right?
Yeah.
So there's some people that are afraid to leave because they're afraid of what he's going to do to the pet as
Yeah.
well if they leave. A lot of places they don't accept dogs, right?
Yeah.
And even some of the programs, they you can't bring your dog with you, which is one thing that I respect and love about Safe Futures also is that they do have a place where you can actually bring your pets, and
pets,
shelters that they're connected where you can bring your pets with you. Because it's part of it. I remember he used to take the dog, poor Taz is a little 7-pound Chihuahua, and throw him or kick him or try to choke him. And it's like, so, so sometimes people don't want to leave their pets behind also.
You can't
They
leave,
become like your kids,
Oh, yeah,
they become family.
I mean, I'm getting a dog in May. I'm getting my own dog in May. I'll get a puppy. And I can't even imagine. I can't even. Like, I had a dog for 2 years, both Pug and Max. One passed away recently. She lived a good age of 15, the Pug. I never once did anything to that dog. She bit me in the butt one time. I didn't do anything. Just accepted it.
Well, she was abusive.
That was the first. Yeah. So.
My first dog, or not my first dog, but my most recent dog. My parents actually were going to get rid of her for a little bit because anytime my brother and I would like play fight or something like that, she would like come and attack me and like start ripping at my arm like this, like literally like this, and my brother would be holding me down too, so I'd be like getting double teamed. And then,
but you're still living in the same home I visited, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Nice house.
Thank you.
Yeah. I'm glad it's definitely better than where you guys were before.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I plan on staying there.
Good.
Hopefully it's for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't have to move anymore.
Yeah, good. I'm glad.
Yeah, I'm happy about that too. Because it was stressful, let me tell you. A lot of work and very costly. So,
I know, but I'm glad you guys moved there. I think it's good. And I think that people, it sucks that most people have to do a lot of that stuff, like move around and everything. But
the only thing I can say to people is to not give up and don't stop. You clearly have some fight in you to stay in a relationship for that long or to stay with that. So if you can, there's hope out there. There's a lot of help, like I said. So just not giving up. And you can do anything you put your mind to, right?
Yeah.
So I strongly believe that. So.
But would you say, like, from your experience, is there anything like that you've noticed, like signs, anything that you want to tell people, like, to look out for? Because I know you said to Destiny one time, which is your daughter, I don't know if we mentioned that, the 3-month rule.
Yes. So I have a 3-month rule, and
Yeah.
I actually got that from a really good friend of mine as well. I always tell her, make sure that when you start talking to somebody, that you wait 90 days. Usually people show you your true colors within the first 90 days.
Yeah.
And another thing that I like is when somebody asks you, or when you're dating somebody, they ask you, what are you looking for in a guy? What are you looking for in a girl, right? Don't tell them what you're looking for.
Yeah.
You pretty much tell them, I just want somebody who can be you, somebody who can be yourself. Because then if you tell them, I want somebody who's motivated, I want somebody who's this, who's that, they're going to pretend to be that for the first couple months. And it's going to be hard for you to tell if that person is genuine or not. So when you tell somebody, I just want somebody who can be themselves, they're going to be themselves, right? So within the first 90 days, they're going to show you their true colors. So whenever you get in a relationship or meet somebody new or start talking to somebody and they ask you, what is it that you're looking for in a person? Just be like, I want somebody who can be themselves.
Yeah.
Somebody to be themselves. That's what I really want. So they can do that. And then you can decide whether you still want to be with that person or not. So,
myself, I eat Cheeto dust and sit inside and play video games all day. Is that cool?
Sounds like a fun life to me.
that's why you. Oh my God.
But yeah, no, I definitely agree. I think from my perspective, a lot, I like people to be like who they are a lot of time. Like, and I've said it before on the show. Like, I'm a conservative guy. I'm a conservative man. That's the truth, and everything like that. I'm not afraid of saying that. He's a more of a.
Yeah, I'm a liberal.
No, but most manipulators, they're gonna pretend to be whatever it is that you tell them you want, right? Yeah. You want somebody who goes to church, for example. They're gonna pretend they love God and they're gonna go to church, and they're not like that really genuinely. Or you want somebody who plays pool. They're gonna pretend they love pool, right? So that's why it's important to just tell them, just be yourself, and that's it. So
yeah, and I think I don't know. I just think that as a what was I gonna say? Why was I saying the conservative thing? Oh, because I try to be like that guy around everyone we see. Sometimes my roommates and him are like, "Hey, don't do it all the time."
Well, we'll talk sometimes. It's civil.
But yeah, like, and I just try to be like 100% how I'm gonna be with them. To the people, they like it, they like it. They don't, they don't.
That's another thing I was gonna tell you. Is just pay attention to how they treat others.
Oh yeah.
Right, because when they're first starting to get to know you, they want to be the sweetest pie to you, and they're gonna be nice. But like, for example, if I go out on a date, right, and 6 years later, I'm still single. No. But if I go on a date, right, and then you see how he treats the waitress, and start down talking the waitress, for example, or getting upset, or if they get easily upset over the smallest things, pay attention to those signs. Pay attention to how they treat others. How they treat others is how they'll do you when they get upset. So I'm really big with that also. I watch how you treat other people, because I know that that's how you're going to do me eventually.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, I think one of the biggest things is probably like manners, right? Like even just saying like, please open the door, like chivalry, thank you. Like these kind of like, I think these are like basic things, right?
Yeah.
But like maybe it's not as insinuated as it needs to be nowadays, right?
I think it's so rude when someone's not holding the door. I don't know why. I like hold the door. For everyone.
He does. He holds the door. Yes.
I literally hold the door for everyone.
I know. Having to slam in somebody's face is kind of...
No, I think it's just do to others what you want them to do.
This guy slams the door in my face. One time I'm walking out the door, he's like this, and he cracks it open a little bit. He's like, "What's the password?"
Oh yeah. Well, I troll sometimes. Sometimes like. There's like somebody coming to the door. I like have it like slightly open.
But you did that to someone.
I did.
He did that to a stranger.
He had to like shimmy through. Like
he did that to a total stranger. He came up to the door and he told me that. I was like, "Why would you do that?" He was like, "I wanted to see if you would do it."
Oh my God.
Oh, and then you.
You're so funny.
And then we're on the remember on the elevator with that girl? And then,
there's a lot of girls on the elevator.
But then we're on the elevator. I don't even remember, but you like yelled at the girl or something like that. But not yelled at her, but like you
I said something. I forget.
Oh no! There was a meme that came out that says "I have nothing," and he was doing it all day.
Yeah.
And then he got on the elevator, and this girl gets on, and I think he thinks I'm to the right of him, but I'm to the left of him. He turns to the girl. He says, "I have nothing," and screams at the girl, and the girl's like, and I look, and I'm like, "I'm so sorry." He has Tourette's. Like I started like making any excuse to get this guy out. And the girl's like, "It's fine, it's funny."
Well, he doesn't have bad intentions.
No, he doesn't. He's just trying to make people laugh. But I felt bad because the girl got like terrified. He's like, "I have nothing." Like you scream.
Yeah. I had nothing.
She probably has nightmares now.
Yeah.
But yeah, the stuff that like, and one time we go to UConn, and we're at UConn, and I've told this story so many times on the show, but it's so funny to tell people that are new. And we go to UConn one time. We're walking around UConn campus, and this girl's catcalling him from the like.
Happens all the time.
From the 6th floor of an apartment building, he starts catcalling him. He's like, "Hey, you down there with the blonde hair," and he was like, "What?" And she's like, "What's your number?" He's like 911. You're gonna need them. and then he runs away. And there's 5 of us just standing there like this. The girl slams her window, and that's it. he runs somewhere.
Well, she felt bad. He rejected her. Well, not.
I don't know.
I went back to that room later that night.
Yeah, he actually sent a note over his actual phone number. No, but that was the fun. That was freshman year. Freshman year for us was the craziest year. And we do this stuff here and there to people, like pranks, but it's just funny pranks. Okay. just like that, like with he mostly does, and I listen.
He mostly does though.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. What's the last thing I've done to someone?
I don't know. You just keep scaring me in the door. That's what
I walked in his room and I was like, Kiskin. He stands up and turns around and goes, screams.
He opens my door. He literally like sneaks around like this.
Not even true.
Like, I don't know what you expect me to do when I turn around and see a goblin. Like
big 6 foot tall. Oh my gosh.
All right. But we're gonna take I'm not even near the mic right now. We're gonna take a quick break if I can get this laptop to turn on. Kiss can talk.
Yeah, and then when we get back, we're probably going to talk about Leave the World Behind, the movie that we watched. Very good movie.
It's part of our new movie review thing, right?
Right. Movie review every week.
It was a good movie, I have to say.
It was a great movie.
Yes.
I wrote down, hold on, look at how many notes I wrote down.
Okay, we'll be right back. And we're back. With your host, Liam Saranich.
With your co-host, King Kiskin.
No, definitely not that. Scratching that from the record. But yeah, so it's time for our movie review. The movie review, we always watch a movie every week, and we do a review of the movie. Right, Kiskin?
That's right.
We started this thing last semester. Now we're back. Now we're doing it again because we like the idea.
Yep. Last time we did John Q.
We did John Q.
Now this time, Leave the World Behind. Would you... somebody like to give a synopsis, like maybe like a little, what's about?
I think you're the best at it.
Oh, all right. Well, so Leave the World Behind is basically, it's an apocalyptic-esque movie where basically a family of 4, wife, husband, and their 2 kids, they go on vacation. And basically, a lot of weird stuff starts happening around them, and they have to like figure their way out of like the most confusing time of their life. Like, what the heck is happening? And the world's like collapsing, basically.
Yeah, and then they rented an Airbnb from this person who eventually it's the second night they're at the place, and they get a knock at the door, and it's the person that owns the house that they're renting out of. They don't know who this person is. They're not for sure it's the person that actually owns the house, but eventually there's clues that show it actually is the person who lives in the house. It's him and his daughter. His wife is in Morocco and all that stuff. And but that's kind of something you find out later on.
It's kind of a small basis of the story. So at the start, I would like to go. There's a big theme in the movie.
Okay, so off the rip, if you want to watch this movie, it's on Netflix.
Yeah.
It is a good movie.
And
very good
spoilers ahead, starting now. Wait, before spoilers ahead, starting now, good movie, apocalyptic scenario. You just explained the whole thing again. I'm basically explaining the same thing again. Watch it.
Yeah.
It's good. Spoilers.
Nice.
Good start.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
A big thing in the movie was the contrast between blue and red, right? Blue meaning being in your comfort zone, you're safe. Red being in danger, right? So we can see this at the start of the movie. they're before they even leave for the Airbnb, their bedroom's blue. Everything around them blue.
Oh my god, I didn't notice that.
They're all.
Like I said, this guy takes a lot of notes.
I'm like the whole like.
So just be ready
like,
for this. Did you show her the notes you took? Like,
yeah, there's a lot.
Yes, you got a whole book on it.
That's right. Right. So that's a whole theme in the movie. Right. And also at the start, right, the wife, she says like, the husband's like, oh, why do you want to like go to this Airbnb? Like, why now? And she's like, oh, I saw people making like lives of themselves or like trying to make a life for themselves in such an absurd world. And like inspired me. And then she remembered she hates people. That's like the opening. And there's sort of a theme of absurdism, I feel, where basically they're trying to make sense of such a confusing and meaningless life and or like a meaningless world, right? And they do come back to that point a lot later on, where they were where she had the whole monologue with people think that they could just go through life like thinking that they're good just because they have paper straws and think that
when she was talking to the daughter.
Yeah.
Yes.
And this whole thing is just an absurd world, right? Then after that, right, there was some foreshadowing with at the start where they had the Wi-Fi password, right? The wife was like, "Oh yeah, this must be one of the cybersecurity guys," based on like the password, right? Hinting at George's like affiliation with like that market, right? With like the cybersecurity market. Also, big thing. The big painting in the back of the room, the black and white painting, changes throughout the entire movie. It becomes more mixed and mixed, black and white, as the themes of racism start to die down. Right?
I didn't notice that.
Really?
Oh my god, I didn't notice.
Did it
that
actually change?
Yeah,
I'm gonna go back and watch the movie again.
Yeah, now you're gonna want to watch it again and see.
Throughout the movie, like more and more. There's like a big theme of racism throughout the movie.
Oh yeah, I noticed that part.
Oh yeah, that was obvious.
Yeah. Right.
But like the symbolism of it in the background, I didn't notice.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, okay.
Lots of blue, right? The original house was blue. The store was blue. The car is blue. The clothes are blue. The national emergency is blue. The rooms are blue. Everything is blue, right? When they're in comfort. So, I don't know. I really like the music, by the way. The music was amazing.
The music was great. I think
like
the
soundtrack,
suspenseful music,
awesome.
Yeah.
Like
you're like smiling. What? You're in awe of him.
Yes.
You should
pay attention to details.
You should watch movies with him all the time. This is what he does every movie.
Yeah, I like to like pick apart and see what they're what they like talk about, right? So now at the start of the movie, so when they get to the beach, when the ship like comes and lands,
into
right?
the water,
So the family like notices, right? But they're like, oh, whatever, it's not actually coming towards us, right? The only one paying attention to this was Rose, right?
The little girl, yeah.
Rose was the only one saying anything about it. And she was like, are we sure we should get out of here? And they're just like keep ignoring her until it comes like closer and closer, right? And now the ship that landed, right? Fully red, right? Fully red on top. A red symbolizing the danger.
Oh,
right?
red was on the bottom.
It was on the bottom.
It was on the bottom and full red on top. Yep.
Oh, the ship containers, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it was the white lion. I don't know if that meant anything. But,
I don't know what it meant.
Right now, right after that, right, the kids forget what happened. Or, like, forget what happens. Like, just jump in the pool. They're like, yeah, whatever. While the adults are like, how are they forgetting what happened, right? Which is a big theme in the movie where... basically, it's just to not focus on so much problems that are happening in the real world, but just to be your genuine self, which is what a big theme of Rose, right? Which is then more insinuated by the husband, right? The husband was gonna help with a book from one of his students. I don't know if you remember him saying this, but he said, now the book was made, and it was about the media is both an escape and a reflection of like our society, right? And that literally happens like all around us.
In the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. One thing I want to point out about the movie was the animals.
Yeah.
Yep.
Nature.
Yeah.
Nature knows. So I just have to point because the deers, they kept popping up
they try to
over and
warn
over again, multiple times. And then the birds.
And even
So-
the deers didn't even seem like they were gonna attack anyone. When they stood around them at the end there, I don't even think they were. It doesn't look
When
like
they
were,
started screaming, the mom.
Yep.
I feel like it was kind of reflective of like that. The deers were peaceful and all that stuff, but then this aggressive human behavior kind of scared off like the last kind of some warning of themselves. You know, like the in nature, like warning them. I don't know if that makes sense or not, but
Yeah, no. There is a thing between, there's a theme between how humans treat nature and how it treats it back, right? Where like, we maybe have like a shallow sort of feeling of care where we're using fake straws, but like when we don't really care, and when they try to care back at us, we just screw them.
That's what I'm saying though. Like
Right.
them yelling at the deers and stuff like that. Like it doesn't seem like the deers were even doing anything. It just seems like
They're just trying to warn them.
Yep.
and they were just getting yelled at by the people and everything. The one thing that confused me the most, the flamingos. Like that one really took
The
me.
flamingos?
Yeah.
I think it was just their migration path. Like, I honestly,
I feel like there has to be something there because I just don't like out of all the birds you could do, flamingos like it must have mean something. But I'm not sure.
the flamingos are also red, and they did come closer.
Well, they're
and
pink.
Well, reddish.
I guess, yeah.
I'll add it.
Light red.
Right.
Very light red. The lightest red you could get. Like, get out of here.
Yep. Big dynamic between the white and black families and racist comments, right? So both the women from both families are the racist ones, while both the guys are trying to like calm each other down.
Yeah.
Right. Racist comments like "This is your house." They snuck up the road. It's a big dynamic where the black family is sophisticated, right? They have suits, they're wearing dresses, they have a nice car,
The extra expensive car
right?
that she said.
It's everything where they're like, and then later on it's like, people miss out on that because of preconceived notions instead of the actual truth, which is built upon.
The one thing you've mentioned to me in the past that I didn't notice until, I knew this time, the second time we watched it, the food cupboard at the end of the movie. Remember where they take a shot at the food cupboards at the end of the movie with all the the canned foods and stuff?
Yes.
Those food companies all were, you can say
They were all like racist brand companies, like Aunt Jemima. There's that was like the main one that I looked at, but all of them have like sort of racist controversies behind them.
and it's all in that food pantry, right? It's like,
at the end of the movie.
At the end of the movie, it was that last shot. If you like look at all the food labels and like the companies and you like research them, they all had like racist upbringings and stuff.
Or controversy.
Yeah. Now she's gonna want to watch this movie again.
I'm gonna go home and watch it tonight.
Send her, send me the notes you took so I can send it to her.
Yeah,
Sure.
that's crazy.
So she can actually like go back through and like pay attention to all that stuff.
Ruth said, Ruth being the girl, George's daughter.
Yeah.
She said everything is going to be okay, right? Foreshadow client and insider information when the guy basically he didn't say everything's going to be okay. He's like, I'm not so sure, or he didn't even like affirm anything. So maybe the sort of foreshadowed like he has information that he's hiding.
What he does, doesn't he? When he gets in the car with
He
the
finally
other guy,
admits
he
to admits to it all. Yeah.
Now, and then when they're up in the bedroom, and basically they're saying like, "Oh, well, why didn't you talk more about like the ship incident, right? Why did you just like hide behind it, right? And the wife says, like, I'm afraid it would have confirmed something, which really it comes back to the media both being an escape and a reflection of us, right? Where they really want to hide from what's really going on and escape to our media environment saying everything's going to be okay, right?
Yeah.
Well, they kept hiding stuff from each other.
Yeah, they did.
Because like when the young girl told Julia Roberts about the flamingos and she had...
She didn't know. Like, and then everyone was hiding stuff from each other. There's all the boat thing. You're good.
No. How much more do you have of your notes?
Oh, I've got a lot.
Okay.
Oh, I'll tell you got a book.
Okay, keep going. Yeah.
When the TV turned on for a second, the map of the cyber attack was red. It's all red.
Yes.
All obviously the symbolism between red and
blue.
Red and blue.
Yep.
A deer coming out of the woods. It's a warning sign.
Yeah.
Completely ignored, right? Just like the boat. Ignored. People keep sending signs. People keep ignoring them.
But like, okay, yeah, keep going.
And then they want the news to be kept between the adults instead of the kids, right? The kids are the pure ones, right? They shouldn't even want to they don't have to deal with any of this.
Even the other girl, what's her name?
Ruth.
Was it Ruth?
Ruth.
The daughter of George.
Yes. She said it when Julia was like, don't tell the kids, please keep this between us. She was like, well, I disagree. That's a mistake because they already know. They already,
Yeah, she definitely, she disagreed with that.
A lot of us try to keep things away from our children thinking that they don't know, but they know because they're observant and they pay attention.
Yeah.
Like she was the one that noticed when the deers came out that something was wrong. She always knew. I feel like
Rose
knew the whole time that something was going on.
His whole thing is this movie is basically revolved around Rose.
Yeah, the whole movie's about Rose.
Okay.
Yes.
I don't agree.
Well, then you're wrong. Also, to preface, Rose, the 13-year-old daughter in this movie, she wanted to watch the last episode of Friends the entire time, and she can't because the Wi-Fi and the blackout. There's a blackout that happens. She can't do any of that, right? And that's her whole thing. The whole entire movie is just trying to
finish that,
trying to finish the Friends episode, right? Everyone wants it to be fine. Yeah, ignores the warning signs. Then there's the obviously racial undertones when they go into the back room and you see like the pictures on the wall that this used to be like a slave owned place. Right, has racial undertones. I think I was confused about the hut in the middle of the woods. You remember there was an imprint in like the leaves that somebody was
there.
I have no idea what that is. I literally have no clue.
Yeah, I really didn't like. I think I understood what the hut was for.
I think maybe it was like God that was in that hut, but that might no.
I don't think that.
Okay, wait. It connects to another thing, but I'll reason why it was that after.
No. Finish what you're saying.
Yeah, I want to know.
Yeah. Rose's story about the West Wing of the man, right? The man that he kept praying every day, and that the town would get flooded, right? And a boat came, a helicopter came, a guy came to come warn him, and then he ends up dying to the flood. And God says, "Oh," or he's mad at God because he's like, "I prayed every day, like why didn't you save me?" And he's like, "I sent you this guy, I sent you the boat, and I sent you a helicopter, and you still stay. Yeah, what else more do you want?" Right.
Well, I feel like the hut has some sort of importance to it because of the fact of there was like only 2 times the hut was a big thing was when Ruth and Archie went there and they were like exploring it and everything. And then the second time was when
you mean Rosie and Archie,
and then Ruth and
Julia Roberts
went there. So there has to be some sort of like symbolism. You know what I mean? So,
well, I'm not an English major for that part.
But it's almost like God is constantly sending you signs of sending you ways out, and
you keep ignoring
keep ignoring those signs
over and over, right?
Well, because maybe the first time they went there, Rosie was like say the signs of the deers and stuff, right? And the second time they go there is with Ruth and the mom, and they actually see the deers, and then they gain the full-fledged sign and everything, and then they start walking out, and then they see the bombs. You know what I mean? Maybe that is probably what it is. Maybe that is what you're saying. Maybe the home is God's, like, sort of like domain of like all the signs are there. Like, take the signs and do something with it and run with it. You know?
Yeah, I mean that's one possibility.
Yeah.
I'm not not saying it's true.
Yeah.
because you said it, it's not true.
Yeah, I know. As soon as I said it, it's over.
It's I don't know.
It's that one's been shot behind the
that
shed.
one's probably conspiracy theory. That's not right.
Yeah, that's a bad idea, right?
Yep. The
Move on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bad idea, Liam.
Okay, what's next? You gonna keep going or what?
The dad that went in, and he was driving into town to go find. No, the dad.
I'm joking.
The dad drives into town to go find somebody, right? And he gets lost, and go find newspaper, and he gets lost, and he comes across like a lady on the street, right? And it's like only lady there, and she can only speak Spanish, and he doesn't understand anything.
Yeah.
Right. Which when he leaves the woman, like he's kind of like just ignoring the problem, like don't even try to solve it. It's just like they were ignoring every other problem.
They run from their problems.
Yeah, they run from every problem they go into.
But then the flyers with the red flyers dropping from the sky.
Red flyers. Right. When George went into the back of the neighbor's house when the plane crashed, there's like a little director or cinematography thing where they like turn the camera upside down, like this guy's world just completely shifted. Yeah. I thought that was pretty cool. Rose, she always says
because that moment was the moment he realized like all the planes are falling, and he probably realized that his wife's gone too. You know what I mean? That's probably the moment of that shift for him of like realizing that this is actually going to be like worse than it is.
It's over.
It's over basically. Yeah.
Rose afterward, I mean, she keeps saying statements. No one cares what I say, right? Like she keeps saying this stuff over and over.
I wonder what you would write if you watched like a My Little Pony movie. Like,
I'd probably come up with something insane.
He's gonna dissect that.
Yeah, you'd be like, Captain Sparkle said, and I just think that Rainbow Rosie wanted this.
Ruth, when she was talking about how Ruth and Julia Roberts were talking about the friends, and that Rose was like worships it and everything, and then Ruth says, maybe it's nostalgic for a time that never existed, right? Which kind of shows that like kids are kind of in this world that like it's just completely outside of like this adult domain where they're like dealing with like a problem like this. She's just focused on friends.
Yeah.
You're kind of nostalgic for that time in which you only care about your innocence, right? It's I think that's what she means by that.
But she seems to be the only one to pick up on all the signs.
Yep. She what was it? When the sound happened, like the big burst of sound. There's a big burst of sound that like happened at points in the movie.
Yeah, and that was like later described as like found out to be like microwave radiation from
from a Cuba incident, which is actually did happen in real life.
I know it did.
Right?
Yeah,
like that was actually one of the scary things. Is that microwave? I don't know if you heard of microwave attacks, but I think there was a U.S. representative that was attacked in Cuba at some point supposedly by a microwave attack.
You know, like what happened with the loud noises? That's the same thing. Like imagine that happened in real life. That's happened in real life at one point to someone, and it causes like it's like radiation, like their teeth fall out and stuff. That's what caused like Archie's teeth to fall out.
Well, what caused Archie's teeth to fall out, I think, was maybe that or the bug, right? I think
No,
That's what I was
I
gonna say. I think it was a combination, maybe, but it's either one or the other. I don't know. What?
because there was speculation that the bugs were at least a bioweapon.
True, but
I
think it could have been from the microwave.
Yeah.
But like, if that was the case, I feel like other people would also have the teeth issue too.
But wasn't Rose with him?
Yeah, Rose was with him. So, but only Archie got hit by the bug, right? Or bit
So
by the
Archie
bug.
was the one who got bit by the bug, but everyone got hit by the loud noise twice, and only
he got the teeth falling
out. So that's why I'm wondering if it is the bug. Maybe it was the bug then. You know?
Yeah, I think it was
because
prime.
technically, if you are going to attack the country and stuff, you want to go at all fronts. So, like diseases, radiation, knocking your communications, like what they said in the movie, like taking out your transportation, blocking the roadways, which was kind of scary too. Is like the fact of like they hacked the cars and they intentionally put the cars in the middle of the road so you can't drive to the cities and stuff. That was kind of crazy too, with the Tesla.
They all happen to
self-driving
be
cars.
Teslas.
Yeah.
It's kind of creepy, right?
And so I'm never in a self-driving car.
Yeah. I don't ever want to Tesla.
Yeah, but right after that, right?
Yeah.
The Julia Roberts is like that was crazy. Like, everything's changed, and then George says like nothing's changed, right? Because you've been ignoring like all the signs this entire time, but you think everything's changed because this is one sign. You notice this one sign, right?
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty cool. When they were driving away, Rose was the first to hear the sirens, and then everyone else picked up on it. They were like, "Oh, what are those sirens?" When they were driving to the self-driving cars and everything.
Again, Rose was the first one to notice all the signs. She was the first one to notice the ship. She was the first one to notice the deer.
She's the man crying.
She was the first one
God.
to notice everything. Well, because she's innocent.
Yeah, I know.
right? Of the other dynamic, I mean, when the husband and Ruth were together versus George and Julia Roberts, I don't know. It was like two were smoking weed while two were drinking.
And
weed,
dancing.
Maybe weed more like being, I don't know. Maybe it's more of maybe it's like a culture difference or something like that. I'm not sure.
I think it just kind of reflects the dynamic of the pairing of characters, like what happens if these two characters together versus the other two characters together, and like kind of showing like, I don't know, like almost that energy of the two characters, and like like these two characters are more relaxed with the situation, with these two characters more aware and self-aware, more amped up about the whole thing. So
Yeah, it definitely could be like something like that.
It can also be the fact that men were more calm in the movie than the females were.
yeah, and
The
also the
females
crazy
were-
part is those two almost had sex together in the day. I thought that too. He says no.
I don't think that there was a sexual tension between the two. I think that,
She literally said, "I'm married, you're married."
yeah,
Yeah.
because they're just wanting comfort between each other.
Well, it was yeah,
Oh,
okay.
yeah.
Although, you know what's
They-
funny is like when they're hugging, like the song's like, "I feel something poking me." Like,
That's what I'm saying, Kiskin.
I'm like, what?
You're catching up now.
But he's crying. Why would he do that?
Because he misses his wife, and he's seeing part of his wife in this woman, and he's missing his wife, and almost kind of like
Yeah,
almost
it's a replacement
somewhat
right now.
like falls in love. Not falls in love, but like
He gets feelings. He cares for her.
he falls with this woman by the pretense of thinking it's his wife without realizing. You know what I mean? At the same time, having that emotional connection to that person, which is
Probably why he was so passionate also to help her son.
exactly. Yeah.
Holding
Holding that gun, he was like, that guy was ready to kill. I guarantee he was about to shoot Kevin Bacon and the guy and take the son back and say, I don't know what happened. You're my wife now.
Part two.
Mahershala Ali.
Listen.
The next thing, George says, yeah, people never learn even at their own expense. Obviously hints at ignorance again,
Yeah.
like the whole theme of the story. After he tells his story about the evil cabal, right? The guy that he like worked with, and then he's like,
Yes.
the evil cabal, right? after he tells that story, above his head in the reflection is a blue light. It's blue light like hovering above him, like the Cabal's watching down, and that what safety that they thought they had is actually like comes back to hurt them because they're the ones controlling everything, right? Right, and then Rose's story. Obviously, Rose's story about the town, that was a huge one.
Yeah, we got through that, so move on.
Yep. Ruth is against white people. Yeah.
We knew that.
Yep. You remember the shot? The Earth eclipsing the sun.
Yes, the sun
right?
with the red.
Red encapsulating the whole thing.
Yep.
Painting at this point is entirely mixed. It's completely black and white together instead of like the right. Yeah. The paper straw thing.
Yeah. Let's get to the end.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Rose ends up in a full blue house, and all foods at the end have controversies and racism, and the play button is blue.
And while everybody else is panicking, she's still like calm.
Okay, and this is the part where I want to debate you on. They're gonna find her in the bunker. And they're all gonna be in the bunker.
No, they won't.
Yes, they are. I said to you in the car. He said Kevin Bacon's like, "There's this bunker. Go there." And he's in the car. He's like, "Yeah, we gotta go to this bunker and find it. Are you with me?" And he does the whole speech thing. And then they drive off to go find Ruth and the mom. And then at the end, the Rose is walking in the hallway and hears her mom scream Rose.
And she goes to the bunker
and
instead.
then she walks to the bunker. Yes, I'm not saying that's not the case, but the mom's there. She's about to go inside eventually and find her in the house.
The whole.
I don't know. I just think it was a weird movie.
Yeah, the whole point of the story, right, is that Rose is the one person that ever noticed anything.
Or
right?
is the one person that brings them to salvation.
No.
Boom.
Or the one person that brings them to salvation.
No.
Yes.
No, she doesn't care about anyone else.
No, she does, because every time she tells someone about a sign, she's telling them and warning them, and they're finally catching this.
No,
I know, but
they ignore. I
know, but
God floods them.
It's the same thing as a prophet of people talking to the prophets saying the word of God and all that stuff, and then they ignore, and eventually they listen to the word, and then they follow them to salvation.
No, the whole.
Well, it's kind of like the story that Rose said.
Exactly.
Yeah. In which the people that ignored them get flooded in the end.
No, they're all
safe. The people that ignored them get flooded.
No, the person, the one guy gets flooded, yeah.
No, flooded as in they.
Yeah, I get what you're
dead,
saying.
Right.
Yeah.
Rosie is by herself at the end of the movie.
Yeah, she's by herself.
She's not.
Well, why would it say right before that last clip?
The last one.
Yeah, I mean, like.
Is she the last one to survive?
Yes.
No, they're all probably going to survive.
No.
You're saying that
movie is saviors.
Can I just say they all hear about the bunker and she sees the house that Rose is in. You're saying they're not going to go look for Rose in the house?
They did not go to the bunker. They're not going to.
In a realistic world, do you think that mom is not going to go to that house and follow the bike trails?
We're not talking about a realistic world. We're literally not. We're talking about themes of the story and how it should play out.
I understand how it should play out, but I'm saying that, in my opinion, I think she's the savior.
Well, keep your opinion to yourself.
She's like maybe the last one, like the last prophet, the last savior. Yeah,
no, there's no savior themes in this story. There's nothing that she saved people from. Everyone's ignoring stuff. That's the whole point.
She warns them about the boat, and they move from the boat. She warns them about the deers. They find about the deers.
They move because they must, not because they actually took the warning sign.
Yeah.
I don't know.
They ignored them.
I don't know. It's kind of hard because the last one. Why would they say that?
Yeah. Yep.
I don't know why they say that.
So mine can explain everything.
She was the last one standing.
So mine explains everything.
I think they mistyped it.
Oh, okay.
I think it was a mistype at the end of the movie.
I'm sure.
I don't know.
All right. Okay, so it's the end. So what is your opinion of the movie overall?
Yep.
Overall, I think it was a really good movie. Mm-hmm. At first it was a little weird, but it was a very good movie. Actually.
If you could give it a score out of 1 out of 10, and you can do like 6.2, it doesn't matter. Like you can do it because the last one we did, we got like an 8.6 on it, a 6.1, and a 7.1. And that was the three people's last thing of the last movie. That was me, Kiskin, and the last guess.
I don't like how it ended, so I'm gonna give it we'll give it an 8.
and just a straight
Yep.
8.
All right.
Kiskin.
Sorry. I liked the movie, but I didn't like how it ended.
Kiskin.
It left a lot of
like-
confusion.
I still like the end. The whole point is for it to be.
I think it's a great movie. I just wish there's a sequel.
I agree. Part 2 will give it a 10.
I'd probably give this like a 8.8. Like
8.8.
Yeah, I thought there was a lot of really good themes, really good usage of like cinematography. I loved all the action scene. Like
Yeah.
like I love the way
I'm
it was
not
shot.
gonna lie.
I love the music.
I'm not gonna lie. It's gonna be an 8.6 for me.
Okay, so we're in.
Where's your 2.2 points going? Hello?
Shut up. I'm saying it's an 8.6. I think it's a great movie. I just feel like the ending, just the ending. I'm just complicated about the ending. It confuses me a little too much with the last one, whatever. 'Cause
Yeah,
I really think they're all going to be fine in the bunker, but you're telling me no.
I'm telling you, it's not the case.
At a spite, 8.6.
Okay. You should give it an 8.7 out of spot.
Just give it the 8.8.
Nope. He's gonna have to live with that. I generally think, though, if you're listening to this, I generally think you should watch the movie, the whole
Very good
movie.
movie.
It's a great movie. You have Kiskin's notes if you want to listen to them during when you're watching the movie, because Kiskin went off on this.
Yep.
If you want to listen to that as you're watching the movie, please do. I'm going to send you the notes. Can you send me those notes right now so I can send it there?
And just to say, it's hard for me to stay still. So the fact that I was able to stay still for that movie, it was a good
Shows
movie.
a lot.
Yeah,
shows a
that
lot
was
to
very
this.
good
Just
movie.
shows a lot to how good this movie is.
Yes.
Actors: Emily Roberts, Kevin Bacon's in the movie, Mahershala Ali. What's the other guy's name? The dad. Can't remember his name.
Looked like Doctor Strange.
It
It wasn't the
definitely
Doctor
not
Strange guy,
Doctor
though.
Strange. He played. He's played a lot of different people. I don't remember who. But famous actor too. The kids, I have no clue who they are.
No.
So, but I highly recommend the movie. It's on Netflix. If you want to watch a great movie and be as confused as Kiskin is about the ending, please.
I'm so
I agree with
confused.
him on that, though.
Shh, quiet. Quiet time. All right. Thank you for coming on the show as well.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. And I think that's it. That's all I got to thank for being here. There's no one else. Good night
No
to
one
you.
else.
And then,
Yep.
I appreciate you guys.
Of course.
You guys are hilarious.
All right. Thank you and good night. Good night, Kiskin.
Good night.
The UN says
Right there, mate. You're listening to the Lounge Around podcast. Stick around for more.